Okay, guys, I have to upload through YouTube now because my other subscription services, I didn't know it was a subscription service, but now I do. So we're going to do YouTube now. Hopefully this will be a little bit easier because now you don't have to um, download the whole video. You'll just have to click on the link, okay? So I don't have the headphone in because I noticed that when I keep this in, it rubs on my beard and makes weird noises. So I do apologize about that. The video quality should actually be a little bit better because it's coming from my iPhone. The only downside to that is now you guys have HD full access to this awesome pimple I have. I'm going to name him my 9th grade class. That is his name, my 9th grade class. No, I'm just kidding. So we're going to go through a couple of points. Today we're going to go through the first journal entry that you guys saw. If you look on the main page, I have, David, it says posted a new material, the 20th to the 24th instructions, do not turn in journals here. That's basically just so you can open it up and kind of get an idea of, okay, this is what journal entries we have coming up. So today we're going to be talking about some of the concepts around the first journal entry, and then we're going to jump into our short stories. I have not set a due date for the short stories or anything like that. I figure what I can do to kind of help you guys along the way is first we can start with a kind of a background on what a short story is, and what what elements of a short story I want to see, because again the whole point of basically a short story, the short story is to get you to be able to identify a theme from the piece and then kind of use that theme from Harry Potter and use it to kind of create your own work. But we'll just talk about a couple things, maybe things that you should think about as we get going. You're more than likely going to have this as a revolving assignment until the end of the year. I'm going to have it do as a major grade to kind of help your averages out a little bit. Because if you're not super solid on I don't understand what these themes are and things like that, we're going to work through it. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the journal today. And then I'm going to knock out some of the basics, you should start thinking about this. You should come up, obviously, with a character, a problem, basics of a story. And then we'll jump into, don't start, if you have stuff written on it, like you should have had, an outline and kind of the basics of what you should expect, that's super. But if you don't, these lectures are your opportunity to kind of, figure it out. So let me jump back into these instructions. So the first journal entry that I have says, do you agree or disagree that the end of the story was stuffed too tightly into the last chapter? So let's break that down. If you read the paragraph above, I kind of talk about how it really seems like a bunch of the most important elements or points of that story kind of shoved themselves into, if not the last chapter, then the last two. And traditionally, you will see things obviously pick up in a story, as you should in your short story as well, towards the end, because just like in a movie. But basically what I'm asking there is, do you feel like that chapter should have been either stretched out a little bit more? Because I think it was about 8 or 10 pages. Do you think it should have been a little bit longer? What information should have been added, or should it have been split into 2 chapters? And if that's the case, what information would you have added or subtracted? And then keep this in mind too. How would you maintain a seamless transition? If you add some information, I would put that Harry did this and this, or that Dumbledore did this before this happened. That's awesome. Let me know. But then say, how would you fix it down the line? How would you maintain that transition? You see what I'm saying? If you don't believe that the story was too stuffed into the last chapter, let me know why. I say if not, then explain why. Again, this is a story for a little bit lower level kids, but you know, so I do give them a little bit of credit in that sense. But for me personally, I feel like J.K. Rowling kind of gave this to her publisher, and they kind of chopped it up a little bit. I just don't see her keeping that story like that. But, you know, that's just my opinion. Do you agree or disagree? Let me see if I have anything. And if you're behind, this is your opportunity to catch up. Let me say this again. You guys really, really need to watch all these lectures because I'm not going to title them anything important or anything like that. So just keep that in mind. I'm just going to do the date. And, you know, like if you have a question about a specific thing, like, hey, when did you talk about this? I'll give you the date of the lecture. Like, this is what it's called. So let's see here. But yeah, I just talk about, for me, in my opinion, I said between the showdown with the final enemy, the House Cup Award, the switcheroo, as I called it, and the farewell on the train, I say it feels too much as if things were like kind of packed in there together. And then we have our revolving theme of courage. So this week you'll be answering that first journal entry, and I'll create that link today if you'd like. And you'll knock that out. And then on Thursday, I will go ahead and upload the second video lecture talking about the second journal entry, and we'll talk about more stuff with your short story. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume, just for all intents and purposes, that let's say that you don't have like really kind of any idea what you want to do with your short story, where you want to begin or anything. The first thing that you need to understand is that obviously we are mimicking or taking inspiration from the themes that are present in the book we just read, the first Harry Potter book, okay? Throughout my other lectures, I talked about a lot of the major themes, like courage, the supernatural world, things like that. So watching those lectures and kind of getting a basic understanding, or if you really want to do it, just go to Google and type in the themes of the first Harry Potter book, and it will explain everything. I get a lot of my notes from there, you know, multiple online resources anyway, so go ahead and take advantage of that. But if you really have no idea, I'm going to pretend, I'm just going to make something. I have not thought about this at all. I'm going to just kind of, you know, make up one with you on the spot. So in any short story, let me get to my notes here, there are kind of key elements that revolve around a story in general. Don't jump into the specifics. Let's just ask the broad questions like, what are my characters' names? What is my setting? What is my conflict? Because a story is not a story unless an issue needs to be solved, right? What is my plot and what is my theme? Okay, so those 5 things we'll go over specifically, just making up a story. Now, again, I'm going to make up a story with you, and if when I read your stories, it's my story, we're going to have issues. But just do this with me, okay? So the theme, the last one, maybe our character, setting, plot, conflict, and theme. The theme is going to be the easy one because we're just taking a theme that we think could be inspiration worthy. Will you quit scratching my freaking carpet? That's expensive. The theme is going to be easy because we're taking it from Harry Potter. So I'm not going to think about it right now, but let's just say for later on, I'm going to pick, let's say, courage, the issue, because the theme of courage, gaining courage and self-confidence and bravery is a major theme in here, but we will deal with picking a theme kind of later on. But in my head, I know that that's going to be like the easiest one. Talking about a character who isn't courageous, creating some sort of conflict that forces them to become courageous, and then going from there. So let's just start today. I'm just going to make up a character, because that's the one thing I need. Like, what do I want this character to be? So let's just relate it to myself, okay? If I can't think of anything creative, I'm just going to think of something that I can relate to myself. So let's call him... Let me get my notes here, one sec. And I'll write this down with you guys. Okay, so I know I want my character. I know I want to be able to relate to my character, because if I can relate to my character, then it's going to be an easier story to write. Okay, because it's just me. Okay, so let's say I don't know anything basic, but I know that I want a male character. You know, roughly 25. Let's put it like that. Let's say that he okay. Let's say that he's just, again, I'm trying to think of something creative, but I can't. I'm just gonna say he's a native Texan. Okay. He is single. I don't want to put that I'm a teacher or anything like that. I'll say that, okay, I'll say that I am, in this story, I'm going to be between jobs, okay, and that right there will cause potential conflict, but I'm not going to get there. So he's between jobs. I'm just describing a character. I'm making it up off the top of my head. Let's see. He's average everything. Let's just say that. So there's nothing like just crazy interesting about this character. He's an average person. He doesn't have anything exceptionally crazy about him, except for one thing. Average everything except for one thing. Why am I saying that? I don't know, because it sounds like it's going to be cool in the story. Except for one thing, which is, I don't know yet. I'm going to leave it blank. But I'm building a character right now. Let's say, I don't want to say where I'm going to start or anything, because that's jumping into setting. We're just talking about character right now. Let's give him a name. How about, okay. His name is going to be Beowulf Bluegill. And I'm going to put a triple X right here, and I always do that like as a, I need to add something to that later. I don't know if I like the word bluegill, but I like Beowulf. I can make it, I can fix it later. His name is going to have some kind of ring like that into it. Like if I'm, like all the best stories, movies, everything starts off with the base outline. Like, you know, if I'm a record producer and I'm just walking down the street and I want to think about something to create, and I'm just like, I'm like, oh, hey, that's okay. I might be, okay, all right. And then you go back into your studio, and then by the end of the day, you have like the next hit, and it all started from, you know, whatever. This is the same thing. Am I gonna keep Beowulf Bluegill? Who knows? I don't know. I like Beowulf. I don't know if I like Bluegill or not. But again, we're just creating the character. What else can I talk about the character? He is, let's put somewhat of a loner, because that, whenever you have a character that's kind of a loner, just like with Harry Potter, like you can connect with that character more, and then when cool things happen, like they get friends, you're like, oh yeah, you know, you feel good for them. So I'm just gonna stop right there. I'm not gonna get into my setting, my conflict, my plot, my theme. Dude, in 3 minutes, I just came up with, like, I'm just going to use this character. Do I like everything about him? No. Can I change it later? Yeah. But I have to start somewhere. And again, I'm not asking you guys, unless I say specifically, tell me where you are in your story, like what ideas do you have. You're not turning anything in right now. Okay, so today we talked about the journal entry that you guys have. I'll post it today. Again, it's not due until Sunday. None of this stuff is due until Sunday. Okay, I can post them whenever, but they're not due until Sunday. And then we talked about a short story in and of itself. You need a character, setting, conflict, plot, and a theme. The theme part's going to be easy because we're going to take that from Harry Potter. I don't know anything else about what I want to do with the story, so I'm just going to make up a character. I can't think of anything creative right now. Like, if I wanted to, maybe I could have taken inspiration from my dog and been like, okay, I'm going to write a story from this dog's point of view. His name is blank, but I didn't. I can't think of anything specific, so I'm just going to come up with something about me until the cool magic stuff happens or whatever. I'm a guy. I'm from this place. I'm single. I'm between jobs, and I say that because that allows for maybe a potential hole in the story to where I can go down. There's average everything. Like, I'm not starting off this story like, Dave Moody has the world record for the longest hit baseball, and like I don't have any type of supernatural or crazy athletic or intellectual abilities. I'm just me, just average. But then I put in quotations, except for one thing, there's something special about him, but we don't know yet. Maybe I'll find out later. My name, maybe Beowulf, Bluegill, who knows? And then somewhat of a loner. That also allows for expansion. Okay, so I'm going to end the video here. I'm going to start doing this from YouTube, hopefully. Hopefully this works out. If you guys like this method, let me know. And then maybe we'll be able to communicate through YouTube comments or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right.